Hello, welcome back. It's Abaddon. Blizzard released a brand new World of Warcraft housing article. I have not seen this. It only came out a couple hours ago. I have avoided social media in those couple hours until I could get to filming this. So I want to go over it as a first look with you guys. The title of the article is Azeroth Beautiful, a look at housing interior design. So I think we finally get to see some of the themes that are going to be in the houses, what we can do with the inside of a home. Of course, that's one of the parts that everybody is the most excited for. I also am curious if we're going to get external customization in any way, shape, or form that may come later down the road. This sounds strictly interior, but I'm going to throw it up on screen now and we'll go through it together. So let's go. Okay, I'm going to scooch all the way over so we can have both in frame here. Okay, let's go. So, Azeroth, beautiful. A look at housing interior design. So, this is not a new picture on the top of the article. This is the same picture from before, if not very, very, very similar. I don't think there's anything new per se in that picture. That's kind of the same look or view of the house that we had before. I don't notice anything right off the bat. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments if I am missing something. Maybe there's an Easter egg in that picture that I'm not picking up on. All right. Welcome home, adventurers. In our previous housing article, we shared a high-level overview of our plans and philosophies. This time around, we are getting concrete and discussing specifics for the decoration systems. They're going to show off what's possible, answer some common questions and concerns, a couple of disclaimers. Okay, what are these going to be? This article only focuses on interior decoration systems and only in a single room. Okay, so it sounds like the houses are going to have multiple rooms that can be decorated maybe completely separately is kind of what that sounds like if they're able to isolate this one. Potentially. There's still plenty to cover beyond the basics of decoration, but that's for another time. More to come. Okay. Little teaser. I see how it is. They're teasing us already. It's a lot of work in progress, assets and UIs, not finalized. So focus more on the functionality and less on the details and specifics. Okay. With that out of the way, let's talk about decoration in housing. Okay, let's go. Okay, the first full section of information, getting down to the basics. Looks like we've got a little video here. I will read the text first. I'm really curious as to what this video is going to show us. Decoration has two primary modes, basic and advanced. You can freely toggle between them at any time while decorating with a key press. Okay. Basic is quickly place or remove objects, move the morale while keeping their movements somewhat constrained to make putting something together quick and easy. It has a number of rules to help with this. So decor can be moved around on the ground and will move on top of things as it bumps into them or down to the ground as it reaches an edge. This will let you move around and have them interact in the expected way. Decor can be rotated around its up axis with the rotation snapping to a 15-degree increment so objects don't accidentally unalign with other objects as you rotate them. Okay, so this definitely sounds like it's leaning very Final Fantasy house decoration where you can almost place things wherever you want them. It probably snaps into place to a certain regard. I was very, very curious how much we were going to be able to place items where we want to place them. I know sometimes in Final Fantasy there's a tabletop item and you can only put it like on the table. And there's some restrictions that way, which we'll see if we kind of get that here. Let's see what this video has in store for us. Okay, so there is a bit of a snapping motion with the rotation. Looked like there was a bit of a snapping motion left to right, but not up and down. Maybe that's just the way the movement is because I can't see it snapping in one direction and not the other. Yeah, it doesn't snap there, but it looks... Oh, it looks like it's based on the speed that you move it. So if you move it slowly, it kind of snaps to the grid. And if you move it quickly, you can maybe place it wherever. It might still snap when you click on it. I'm not sure. Okay, this definitely looks like there's a lot of freedom in terms of where we're able to put things, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I want to be able to move and rotate and put something in the corner of the room or the middle of the room. This is okay. I like this. I like this. This is what I wanted. I I don't know if it's what I expected. I was trying not to have super high hopes. I really wasn't sure how they were cover this aspect, but I'm happy to see this. This is what I wanted to see out of being able to move objects. So decor has collision. So this is all still the basic movement. Decor has collision with other pieces of decor as well as the floor, wall, and ceilings, and players are unable to move decor through other things. No losing things in the walls. I feel like that is potentially a little dig at Final Fantasy as well. I think I've definitely lost some things in the walls decorating my house over there. I like that. It makes it easy to just say place something on the wall and there's kind of like a hard stop there. That's good. I like that. Decor will align to the floor, wall, or ceiling, depending on what sort of decor it is. A rug will align with the floor, painting will align with the wall. If you move it around the corner, it will continue to align properly. Right, so it'll shift like if you're on this wall and then you're on this wall, it'll do that shift for you by the sounds of it. This also means decor will snap to the ground if you move it off something. Right, so they did say that if you're moving something off a ledge, once it gets to a certain edge of a table or something, it'll snap to the ground. Okay. So essentially this is just using a snapping system that is going to kind of put something in roughly the orientation and the location that you likely want it. I'm assuming that the advance is probably going to be less snapping and more so you can freely rotate things because the snapping tends to be, like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 273, but the advanced maybe is more like you can set it to 33 degrees if you really wanted to. Maybe that's what I'm thinking, but we'll see when we get there. So this is the basic snap placement on surfaces. UI subject to change. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it has that rotation automatically for you. Okay. Yeah, I think that works great. I think that allows people to kind of simply do something if they just kind of want to put a window there and, aren't too particular about it. I do like that UI. The UI I know subject to change, but it looks pretty simple and easy to use. So that's promising. What else have we got? Certain types of smaller decor will parent to certain types of larger decor when placed on top of them. This means when you move the larger decor, the smaller decor moves along with it. Okay, I like that a lot. So you can put a bunch of decor on a table by the sounds of it. And then if you decide, oh, I don't like the location of that table, you don't have to take everything off the table, move the table, and then put everything back on. It sounds like you can just pick it up as a group and move it. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. This allows you to, for example, place books on a bookshelf and then move the whole shelf. Yeah. Okay. Also a good example. So they're putting the items on the table, rotating them as they put them there. There looks to be a lot of freedom to this. Oh, that is beautiful. That's so good. Look, I know some people are negative Nancy's about housing, aren't happy about it, don't want it, all of the above, etc. I am so excited for this, and I genuinely feel that they are really nailing all of the areas that we were concerned were going to be an issue. I addressed it in my previous housing video going over the first article they released for us. Things like having concerns about community and if you could be next to your friends and in your guild and how instant it would be. And, if you're going to get your house reclaimed, if your subscription lapses, things like that they addressed. And now seeing the level of freedom that it looks like we have in these videos. Another concern addressed. This is only making me more excited for housing, to be honest with you. This looks really great. So players can show a grid and enable snapping. Okay, so yeah, you can either snap or not snap it by the looks of it. So they will snap decorations to the point on the grid, helping you keep everything neat and tidy. It will even shrink down when you're placing items on a smaller surface. That's so nice. So the grid on the big, the floor of the entire room, which is larger, is going to be a bigger grid than on just a singular table. Okay. I think this creates a really good basic UI for somebody who maybe wants to do a little bit of decorating, doesn't want to be too picky about it, but still wants to decorate their house, but doesn't want to spend hours and hours at it and kind of strike that in between. I think this is the perfect kind of starting point. It'll almost have place things for you, like it'll snap it into place. And then maybe you can go in with the advanced afterwards to nitpick and tweak it exactly how you want. I'm sure that you can place a bunch of things in basic mode to be like, okay, this is generally the layout that I want. And then you can probably swap because they did say that you can swap back and forth at the beginning of the article. Okay, so let's look at the advanced because this is probably more so what I'm going to make use of, I think. I think the way that I will do it is starting off with basic and getting an idea of where I want things to go, and then I'll probably go into the advanced and really tweak and nitpick right exactly to where I want everything. But that's so restrictive, we hear you saying. I'm actually not saying that at all. That's really funny. But I do understand that it is restrictive to have things snapping to a grid if the grid isn't exactly where you want it. You know, if the grid doesn't perfectly center between two beams on the wall, so the window isn't perfectly centered, I will lose my mind. So as much as I wasn't really being like, that's so restrictive, I would have felt that way had I encountered the, oh, the beams of the wall are here and the window can only go here. You know? It needs to be perfectly centered, please. So don't worry, just switch to advanced mode and feel the true power at your fingertips. Advanced mode effectively turns off a lot of the rules of basic mode, but also offers up additional tools of its own as well. Decor has no collision. Want to push a chair into the wall? Enjoy. Wow, 0 collision. Oh, this is going to be utter chaos. You can create utter chaos with this. Okay. Let's see what the clipping looks like here. Or I assume what is going to be the lack of clipping. Wow, okay, yeah, so you can really just clip anything. My question is if you clip the table through the wall, is there half of a table on the outside of your house? I doubt that, but that would be really funny. I think that would really confuse people. That's hilarious. That could be really useful though if you kind of want to create maybe like a side table, but it doesn't quite have the design you want. As long as the table isn't half clipped on the outside of your house, you could clip it into the wall and make it look like a little end table attached to the wall. You could maybe use that to your advantage. Okay, what do we have next? You can enable gimbals. What are those? Little 3D controls on objects, which lets you move objects on all 3 axes. Oh no. We know WoW's relationship with the Z axis. Any underwater zone? Oh boy. This should be a bit of an easier scenario to get it right in though. So you can float them up in the air without having to jump through hoops. So a gimbal is a pivoted support that permits rotation of an object about an axis. Oh, so you can kind of like tilt something, I guess. Let's see. Advanced floating. Okay. Oh. Oh, so you can just float tables in the middle of your room. Wow. This is extensive. I did not expect this level. Honestly, I was expecting the basic and that was it. But not necessarily called basic to distinguish. I was just expecting them to be like, here's how you do housing. This might work a little better than Final Fantasy, if I dare say. A different gimbal can be used to rotate any object freely on any axis. Okay, so I'm assuming this is just like tilting it sideways that I was mentioning before. Tilt it left to right. You can also tilt it vertically. Yeah, okay. Can you tilt it the other way though? There it is. Okay, so you really can tilt it any which way. This is wild. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. Is it weird to say I'm so proud to be seeing this from the team? Like this is amazing. I really do appreciate the work that they've put into this. And from the previews, sometimes things aren't always executed in game exactly as they were shown to us. That definitely happens, but I mean, seeing these videos, I have very high hopes. I'm not gonna lie to you. A third gimbal can scale an object's size up and down with some generous limits. Oh, you can make giant tables or mini tables. If you play a gnome, you need a little mini table. Or if you're a tauren, you need a big table. That is a really nice addition just for that kind of, you don't want to be running around your house as a gnome and your table is at your nose. Unless you want to be a gnome with a very gigantic house in comparison to your own size. Or a Tauren with a very miniature house. You could be like a what is the saying about a bull in a china shop or something? If you have a Tauren character and you make everything really tiny, that's the vibe. Advanced mode lets you interact and design things with very specific controls to make whatever your heart may desire. Internally using this, employees have taken bushes and made them into garland for their fireplaces. Okay, I think this is kind of what I was saying. If you clip something through a wall, you can make it look like something else. Or made paint buckets into small spice racks for their kitchens. That's so cool. Yeah, so you can like clip something through a wall so you only see part of it, so you can kind of create it to look like something that it's not. You can make something really tiny, to make it into something that it's not. Variety of decor put together in one room. This is so I wanna jump for joy right now. This is so adorable. I am a little lost for words right now. I know that I'm very much just gushing over this right now. And it's not that I won't critique things where they need to be critiqued, not everything is done perfectly. However, they're really just doing a bang up job of this in my opinion. So, we've been dying for housing. Oh my god. Okay, Blizzard, die for transmog when? Yesterday, right? Yeah, thank you. Okay. In addition to the decoration modes, we wanted to call out some other functionalities and choices we've made. Some because they're cool and worth sharing, and others because they directly answer some of the questions we've seen since the first article went up. For newly created assets, as opposed to legacy ones from existing art, we're allowing players to dye them a variety of colors. So if you find a chair, but you wish the upholstery was blue instead of gray, you can make that change. But what if the blue doesn't match the stain of the wood or the color of the metal? Well, you can fix that as well. I need this for transmog, Blizzard. I need this for transmog because every single time I try to make a purple transmog, I just end up using a set because I swear every set is a different shade of purple and nothing matches the purple from any other set other than its own, and it drives me crazy. Give us a dye system and give us different outfits instead of recolors. This is very cool though. It is worth noting that they did say newly created assets as opposed to legacy ones. So I'm not entirely sure where that line will be drawn because housing is all brand new. So I would have assumed most of it is newly created assets. But of course, I'm sure they're pulling from assets that have been created, houses and huts and everything already in WoW. They're just not for the players. They're just, stationary and they're placed there. If they're pulling a decoration from something that's already in game, maybe you can't change it. And maybe that will change with time. They could plan to kind of backtrack and get the legacies up to date. I'm hoping there's more new assets than legacy in this case because I want to be able to dye everything that I can. I'm interested to see exactly where that line is and what that distinction is. Let's check out this dye system right now. Okay, so there's multiple sections too. So you can dye the bed frame and then you can dye the metal on the bed frame. Okay. Oh, that's nice. And then you can dye the comforter. It's kind of blocked by the UI there, but yeah, when they close it out. Wow, okay. Is this the rug? Yeah, the rug. Wow, that is quite nice. I really enjoyed the fact that they paid enough attention to detail to allow us to dye multiple aspects of an asset. Obviously, that's only going to be for the newly created ones, but I mean that's been a gripe in Final Fantasy for so long, and they just came out with the 2-dye system for Glamour, and to see that being done in housing and WoW, just yes. Honestly, just so exciting. But that's not all. Oh my gosh, what else is there? I'm actually shocked that there's more. That's kind of all I expected. It's not just decorations used to customize your space, but the wallpaper, ceiling, and flooring as well. Okay. See, this is what I was curious if we were gonna get for the outside, which they've already made clear is not in this article. But the fact that we're getting it for the inside, I think is very promising that we'll get it for the outside. So fingers crossed. So you can mix and match these to elicit various cultures and vibes, or just make up your own. You can take things a step further and use partition objects to build walls where none were before. Okay, that is straight out of Final Fantasy. People do that all the time to change the layout of the Final Fantasy houses and use certain items as a partition, even though it's not really meant to be used as that, but they make it work somehow. So you can make rooms with arbitrary interiors. They're genuinely really surprising me with how in depth they're going with this. I'm thoroughly impressed. I was trying not to get my hopes too high, and honestly, they're kind of blowing me out of the water right now. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect this much. So this is the house layout from above. Okay. This, I'm assuming, is the entrance because it looks like the door is right there. Got an entrance and the bedroom off to the left. This looks like where the kitchen is. Another bedroom. Speaking of mixing and matching, we saw a lot of questions around what would be allowed in terms of decor. Inside your home, you can decorate however you want. So if you want blood elf wallpaper with a stone roof and wooden floor, go for it. If you play both factions, maybe you can have a dedicated horde room and a dedicated alliance room. Or you can hard commit and do your entire house one way or the other. Larger multi-purpose room with more items and decor. Cool. This really looks beautiful. Before we go, outside, are they giving us a teaser? As they said they were going to talk about. Well, we're not really talking about exteriors in this article. It is worth mentioning that the outside size of your house has no bearing on how big the interior is. Wait, is this like Stardew, where you upgrade your house and you get more and more rooms, but your actual size of your house on the outside doesn't change? So it doesn't take up any more space on your farm. For those of you who play Stardew, you know. If you know, you know. It doesn't take up any more space on your farm, so you can have all your little cute animals and your crops and everything. I love Stardew. But you have this gigantic house when you go inside. If you want a huge mansion outside with just one room inside, or a tiny shack on the outside, but a dozen rooms inside, you do you. I love that wording. It's like the TARDIS. It's going to be bigger on the inside or smaller on the outside. That one's for my Doctor Who fans. We'll share more about the exteriors for the homes later, though. Oh, they always got to throw in the little teaser. Now I want to know more. There's so much more to discuss with decorations. Where do we get stuff? How do I show off my collection of transmogs, pets, mounts? Mount stable on the outside? Can we park our mounts on the outside like in the garrisons? I really liked the mount stable of the garrisons. I would love to have like a little paddock to the side of my house for all of my mounts. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, not all of them. That's a lot. For my favorites. How do professions fit in? New professions? New crafting professions to be able to craft housing items, or maybe the addition of housing items to current professions. I would prefer new professions for that. I think that would be much cooler. Intriguing. The where do we get stuff question at first also kind of intrigues me, but I kind of presume it'll be a mixture of things. I'm really curious if they're gonna do auction house. My assumption is that they will do auction house. It might just be a matter of how many things, like, is the focus, people craft it and put it on the auction house, or they've already said a small portion will be on the store. I know that makes some people mad. I don't care. I'm assuming there will be some sort of just vendor that is, absent of any other players, that you can just buy it off a vendor. Curious though what you'll buy it for. Will it be gold? Will there be like its own currency? I can't see them doing their own currency for this, because then how would you get that currency? So that would induce a grind, which feels a little more gatekeepy than how they introduced housing. They were kind of like, if you want a house, you got a house. Like, there's not going to be any like, I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it was, probably just gold. Hopefully affordable though. Really, really curious about that. Never mind neighborhoods. Yes, more on neighborhoods for sure to come. We can't wait to share more. Please keep sending us your feedback and we'll keep building. But in the meantime, here's another screenshot a team member made mixing some various styles. Very cool. Gorgeous. Look at that bookshelf. I love that. And the vines everywhere. Purple rugs matching the bed frame and but all of the stone, like still a cozy look. I really love this. A bedroom with a little extra bling and plenty of books. There is plenty of books. I like it. I don't know if I'm seeing the bling in that picture. The chair is kind of cool. And a fireplace? I mean, having a fireplace in your room is pretty fancy. Look forward to sharing more with you as we continue to give more insights on the new housing system. And that's it. I'm honestly thoroughly impressed. I don't know if I have too much else to say because I kind of talked about my feelings sentence to sentence, point to point as we went through the article. Generally, I am just honestly overjoyed. Maybe that's too positive of a response for you. I know some people are being really negative about housing, and that's fine. You know, it's not something that everybody cares about. It's not something that everybody wants. Or you could just be like, well, I'm glad you enjoy it, but it's not for me. Totally fine. I'm like that with some things in game as well. So I'm sorry if it feels like I'm not really critiquing anything, but this just makes me really excited to physically test it out, try it out, see how it works. I'm sure there will be little gripes with it here and there, and I'll have some critiques. But at these first glances that they're giving us, I am genuinely really at ease with how they addressed basically every concern I had in my head. It's like they were in my head and they knew my concerns. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I guess people have probably been pretty vocal about them on the forums or elsewhere, which is good because clearly they've been listening. Die systems for transmog when? Tomorrow, please? Well, that is it for the article. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and going over it. I am very excited. Please let me know in the comments down below if you are also excited, if you don't care, what you're most excited about, something you dislike about this system maybe. Please let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear it. If you would like to catch me live on Twitch, links down below. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps. Thank you so much for hanging out. Have a wonderful day. Bye.